How do you balance the need for housing and concerns of the community to keep La Mesa's family feel?
Well, I think another thing with all this new housing is we're seeing studio, 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom. I think we also need to start giving incentives to see 3 bedrooms, because I think that's what families want, 3 bedrooms. I think 2 bedrooms are good, but 3 bedrooms are family units. And we need to encourage and keep our families in La Mesa so that we don't become just a transit sort of community. Now, I think La Mesa, I don't think people realize that there is already a lot of multifamily housing in La Mesa. I think it's just been tucked away for so many years, people don't realize it. But almost, like I think it was 47% of the residents to date live in multifamily housing. So, and I know that as a professional working in downtown, talking to people, so many people who went to San Diego State said, oh yeah, I lived in La Mesa because that was always where it was cheaper to live. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with some of the new development coming in, because we have to have it, we have to do our part. But I think what we need to do is make sure that we keep our families. And I would want to make sure that we keep affordable levels, because affordable housing is not for poor people. Affordable housing is for working class people who just have been pushed out of the market.
I think that there's a lot of things to consider, but the main issue is that we cannot ignore the fact that the city is growing, right? So we have to be able to accommodate growth. Not everybody can buy a home in La Mesa. Some of the prices of homes are over $1 million. Some of them are less, but even, to buy a home for $500,000 or $600,000, it's not necessarily affordable for everyone else. I think that we should have a nice mix of condos or townhomes or both. And I also think that we need to continue to work with developers that want to build along the trolley lines. I'm a huge supporter of that, but I think that we really have to make sure that if it is apartments, especially apartments, that a portion of those apartments should be affordable housing. And I think that if we work on that in the very beginning with developers, and we get something set in place, that we can continue that going with every project that comes across the desk of City Council. And that's how I plan on focusing on addressing the growth issue for La Mesa, because we can't ignore it. It's inevitable. We have to build. As far as single family residents are concerned, we already have single family residents. There's no reason for us to really worry about that. I have seen some residents that have chosen to build properties in the back of their yards. And for some that are faced up to an alley, perhaps that is a way for them to either, live in one unit and rent out, the property in the front or whatever. I know that people are trying to find better ways to earn money or, utilize the size of their land to make that beneficial. But for the most part, we have a lot of residents that they're just residents, and they just want to make sure that the travel is okay. They don't want to wait in line to get on the freeway so that they can go to work. So there's other issues that we have to address as far as parking is concerned, making sure that we put those new projects where we've thought out the parking so that we're not jamming up the side streets of people who are trying to get to work and all they want to do is get on the freeway. So, there's a lot to consider there, but I think that's a good way to focus on how the city of La Mesa city council should be going forward?
You know, there is a really important thing when it comes to housing in La Mesa. You know, there's so many of our buildings are one story. And the answer to that is making sure that we understand that we need to build up. We cannot depend on sprawl because there's no more sprawl to be had, right? We can't build on more sprawl. And so we need to build up. And I think it's important that we understand that the building up is also an opportunity to build better environmentally clean buildings for our community members, and ensuring that people have equitable access to those buildings, and making sure people can be able to apply, that, you know, you don't have to have, you know, if you're building affordable housing for millionaires, that doesn't make any sense. It's got to be the working person, you know, the working person in La Mesa, the working families in La Mesa, the labor union members in La Mesa, the folks that are, you know, the blue collar jobs and the wonderful service industries that support the actual growth and the feeding and the thriving of our communities. If folks that are regular people cannot afford to live here, how are we going to sustain this life, right? How are we going to sustain our city? We absolutely need to be able to support more people being able to have equitable access to these homes. And one of the policy ideas that we have been considering on our campaign is making sure to introduce a first-time home buyers program. And it doesn't have to be for a freestanding building, but in fact that it could be for a condo or for an apartment. And nothing like that exists anywhere in East County. And it's kind of getting to the point where even friends of mine, I know 3 different couples of either a married couple or partners that have been looking for housing that cannot find homes. And if these are people, of some of these people have, you know, master's degrees and, you know, really high paying jobs, and they can't find somewhere to live with their children, then how are regular folks supposed to be able to get places to, you know, find for permanent housing? And so I think it's really critical and really, really important for us to rethink our policy changes and make sure that we're making this accessible and increasing the number, the percentage of affordable housing for our community members. Because if we don't do it, who will? We need to make sure that this is accessible for them. And so I look forward to working with our community and making sure our community members are heard at the city council, because those are the folks that matter the most marginalized, and the ones that have been suffering throughout not just this pandemic, but even before.